very hard matchup, or find something else to play, and then they just fill in the blanks in the top and mid.
I like it from the audience. I'm excited too.
Yeah. Yes,
this is
good. This is good. He placed out into a Corki if it has backup, so it needs a jungler that doesn't have to go top either, because you can just let the Shen sit top. Level 6, Zed can just all in the Corki, get the ultimate, and start playing. And in the mid game, you can play a really strong 1-3-1 with Zed, hopefully snowballing on a side lane. It's literally like he's playing as if it were a young Faker. Not that he's like better than that at all. And people are like, no, he's not baby Faker. He's only played 2 games.
Him Faker because we don't think he's Faker. We called him baby Faker because he's like a little child version.
Yeah, and he plays on the edge of caution or perfection.
Nice edge, the edge of something.
The edge of something. It's good to see a skill-intensive champion here on the Zed on Caps, because we'll have a gauge of how well Fnatic play around that, because it's quite hard to play around, especially if it falls behind, but it snowballs very well. Fnatic, they definitely in the mid game want to keep the map big. They want to keep it open, play on these side lanes, assassinate with Zed on one lane, have the Shen teleport in worst case, or push up the side lanes with the pressure and then collapse for a play.
Well, Crebo, we talked a lot about the bottom lane here, a lot about the potential for aggressive movement, a little juking on the top side, but it's going to be curious to see as we move forward how this works out. Ignar and Hansam, as you said, have kind of given up the push automatically by picking up this Tahm Kench here. And I'm wondering how that's going to affect them, because Rekkles and Jesus are clearly already going to be in control.
Yeah, you will yield your jungle. Luckily, Ivan doesn't need a leash, so they can be in bot lane much earlier. Kakao, let's see, what did he do? Where did he go? Because he had to use the plant to get back. Did he start enchanting on his top side?
Well, you look into that. We'll see Amazing clearing out the Gromp here, approaching ever closer as he finishes that camp to level 3.
Oh, so this is a cool variation on the start. Usually Ivans always start on blue, then enchant 2 camps, go to the left side, enchant 2 and go back. But Kakao started on his red, enchanted that and the Raptors, and then he went for the Blastcon over to the blue buff. I think this is a change up into the Elise, so he hopes that if, he won't get randomly invaded by Amazing's Elise.
It has to be careful here, of course, because we've seen Elise internationally. This is like the early game powerhouse of junglers right now. Level 3.
Yeah, and he seems to... Is he going for Scuttle Crab? No, Amazing's invade. Oh, the pathing adaptation from Kakao completely messes with Amazing. He's getting out jungled right now, because this would be the standard invade for Amazing, usually. Or he's just going for a straight gank.
They're playing Ring Around the Rosie. Alphari doesn't know, though. He thinks he's safe. His jungler's on top side, but Amazing is here first. Could be very bad. Alphari has to be safe. Gonna flash out, but they haven't seen the Iburn yet. Turn around. Amazing goes up and comes down. Nothing gonna drop. So is actually in trouble here.
Yeah, Iburn deals no damage. So that was like a double surprise. Okay. So initially I thought Amazing was invading to mess with Iburn. Power of Evil is here already.
Flash back, gets it in the end, stun goes in, Power of Evil now in trouble, no flash for him, Amazing. Slowly burning him down, he's going back, Jason's on the way in, he's shielded up, the wave is there as well, beautiful for Misfits.
Yeah, that's the problem with the Zed pick early on, Corki will get the push. What a roll from Power of Evil, totally unexpected, and this was also not in Misfits' game plan, because Kakao was just avoiding the invade with his pathing, then went for river control. Power of Evil reacted very quick to that. Let's watch that again here on the minimap. He pushes in. Look, the wave's pushed in because he has advantage over the Zed, and he immediately starts leaving already and just keeps going for the play here. What a punish. It was creative pathing from Amazing. Triple camp blue side, invade enemy jungle, dodges any ward that could have been placed early because it expired, past the top side, but then the execution on the gank wasn't clean. I like what Soas is trying here. Could have maybe taunted upwards, but then the instant punish from Power of Evil. This is very well played.
I like it overall. And Power of Evil, he's a guy that's been a big question mark for us for so long, because we did not feel the impact from him on Origin last season. We always thought sat in lane, never huge, but he is roaming so quickly, and he is exactly where he needs to be.
Yeah, and I really liked the way Kakao was routing there as a jungler too, knowing that he just had to be topside early. His bot lane was going to get pushed in. He couldn't help them whatsoever. So finishing his clear on the bot side would have been bad for him. So he made the adaptation by starting red side, take his blue with smite, return to red side, and then cover for vision for his top laner Alphari, keeping him in the game, because he's a crux for the Misfits.
And really interesting too, we talked about this, Alphari versus Soaz in the top lane. Fnatic said they're trying to figure out how to play around carry tops. They haven't done it yet. So Alphari has the edge in this 1v1 matchup. And Fnatic moving their bot lane top, maybe trying to take that away.
Yeah, Alphari just stylistically is a carry player. He's much better suited on those type of champions, so they drafted him Jace. A very strong meta pick, even stronger on lethality. Right now though, that control ward is disabling the ward. They won't see Jesus.
Snare. Jesus on the way in. Alphari's overstays welcome. He doesn't even know the Jhin is there. Or
no, he knew. He just knew he was dead anyways.
I guess the snare probably gave away the Jhin was there.
Yeah. Being snared by a Jhin generally tells you that there is a Jhin in the vicinity.
See, I learned so much from high-tier players like yourself, Grippo.
And then he knew, well, if Jin's close, Zyra must be close as well. She's probably in river. Let's try and aim for the kill, because I can't get away.
Well, I'm glad we paused there to hear the Ivern soundbite, but Fnatic coming back with moves of their own, and this could have been very bad, because Misfits getting a lead in the early game has been, I mean, the crux of every victory, as you talked about Alfari being the crux on the top side.
What I like the most is that this is two great examples of how pushing your lane can influence the map. You push mid, you roam top, you get a kill. Well, you push bot, you can't punish them under a turret, because they'll never die, they're good enough to CS under a turret, so you get marginal advantages. Unless you base and completely turn the map upside down. Suddenly you appear top side. That's what they did right now. Now Misfit have a bit of a push advantage, but they're also already behind on the play. Look at top lane. Because Reckless and Jezz made that switch, not only did they surprise Alfari, they canceled out the advantage he had in lane, and they got damage on top lane turret. That is a macro decision that you can use to beat teams that might be better individually than yourself.
And I feel like that's one level up in the playbook than what we've seen so far from Misfits. Fnatic kind of upping the macro game from what we've seen as the standard, really doing something innovative and forcing Misfits on the back foot.
Yeah, and now they base and they can actually choose where they go again. And now Misfits, they don't know. Like, are they going top? Are they going bot? They can't figure it out until Fnatic go back. Because look, Fnatic base for items and obviously stronger combat levels. They keep the Varus away from Serrated Dirk plus tier, which is his ideal buy timing. So now this Varus has a very weak trade into Serrated Dirk plus Longsword from Reckless. So these like little base timings give you moments where you can exploit matchups.
Have to see how they fare in the 2v2. Hansama is now backing up, maybe looking for a Serrated Dirk of his own.
So look, and they were basing, not for the Serrated Dirk, but in case Fnatic show bot, because then they would have to move bot themselves, because they want to keep the matchups. They don't want to leave that Jace in the 2v1. So, and then they see Fnatic come back, so they cancel, but they're essentially not doing anything with their time. Fnatic is always moving with a purpose. Misfits are kind of just waiting.
Yeah, and right now the purpose appears to be mid. The Ivern Brush will spot out Soaz. That one's going to be sniffed out, but Power of Evil has to play safe. I guess Fnatic very much telegraphing what they want to do when they pick a Zed mid, but still smart from Misfits to play so cautiously.
Yeah, now it's up to us to track Amazing. See when he gets any ganks off. He's a level behind Kakao, obviously, since the early game. Kakao comfortable. He can hand that red buff off to Corki as well, because it's past 5 minutes. Obviously needs smite eventually, or needs to enchant the camp and go back.
Top lane, or rather the bottom lanes, the duos, continue to be able to pressure in the favor of Fnatic.
I wonder if Caps thought about this. He's playing against double buff Corki now. He has a lead in CS because of the Corki roll, but because of the way Ivern works is you can just pawn off these buffs.
That's not what you want to face. Zed, of course, the luxury of energy means he'll be able to spam out, but you're not looking for the most here.
Again,
Fnatic moving in.
Push, disappear, push, disappear. Where are we going to go? Eventually, you guess wrong. And behind Blorman on 3 is Reckless and Jezz, and they're going to mess you up. That's the goal for Fnatic right now. Very dynamic map movements.
And I like the adaptation. You heard him say at the end in PGL after their series that they were tired. They didn't want to play another farm it out bottom lane, and they're forcing Misfits to play on their terms. They're roaming around the map. They're creating advantages. They're disappearing into the darkness, as you said, and they could be anywhere.
So far, good reaction from Misfits, especially with that early roam. Gold is slightly in their advantage, and they're scaling comfortably. Obviously, when we say they have to work on their late game, it doesn't mean they have to be 2,000 gold ahead already. Like, they still have a composition that spikes very well on 1 or 2 items for poke and siege, and that's what they're looking for. If they can find a good opening, surprise Cavs mid, he has very little wave clear. Like, ZQE doesn't clear an entire wave in one go without him going in.
Of course, you gotta burn your escape to do that. Yeah, it feels so lackluster if you're Caps and you get behind. And Power of Evil moving up, he's gonna grab the red buff.
This is taking jungle supporting to like a whole new level. Double buffs plus package. Magic Pen boots for a really good mini spike there in terms of dueling potential.
Zed might be hurting a little more than he anticipated in the 1v1 matchup.
Problem is that Shen. That's always the issue. I think if it wasn't for the Shen, Power of Evil would play much more aggressive, even be willing to use these gap closers aggressively, but the problem is that's Stand United.
Yeah, of course. So as with the freedom to now TP where to the lanes he needs to pick up farm to stop the pressure coming in from Alfari because he has the luxury of the Stand United. And while Jace does have the ability to cancel it, more often than not, it will not be effective.
Misfits looking to attack the global. They know they can't engage on top side. Yes, because there's a Shen ulti. Just like we saw against Unicorns very often, the way to beat Shen is to attack the global first, which is why Amazing was lingering there for a while.
Bits and pieces coming in for the Jace. Once he gets that armor penetration, maybe a little bit easier to deal with the Shen, to pressure him out, to gank that lane. But for now, seems to be relatively comfortable just pushing out with the Cinderhulk as well as the Ninja Tabi.
Collecting some swords. Doran Blades, a couple of long swords.
I love that build path. I'm so glad long swords are good. Nothing feels better than going back and you're like, I don't have enough for a BF sword. Triple long sword. Let's do it.
Add a little hammer in there.
Working towards the Black Cleaver as well, so we can expect a lot of split push pressure, but Caps now caught out. There's the Shen you talked about. Move forward, Deathmark moving in, wants to land the shurikens, not going to land a single one though. Taunt up, amazing over the wall. Caps wants his first kill, and it's going to go to him. It may not be the Caps outplay, but Fnatic is there for him. Kakao now moving in. Hansama comes over the wall, using the attachment from the root caller. Soaz is in trouble. They're pulling backwards, and Misfits walk away empty-handed.
Yeah, clean reaction there from Fnatic. Honestly, the outplay always lies in can you follow the gap closer with your ultimate on Zed? The answer was yes, Caps did exactly that. Power Evil mistimed his Valkyrie, and he allowed this. Not only did he allow Zed and Shen to spawn next to him, he removed Ivern and Daisy from the fight in that equation too. So that was the worst possible Valkyrie he could have done.
A little more patience needed coming from Power of Evil. Maybe a little too scared for his own good. Maybe not used to the Zed pick. It's been so long since we've seen it in competitive. But now the pieces for Youmuu's coming in, and Fnatic looking comfortably in the lead.
I mean, look at it again. Power of Evil here. Going back in time almost as if it were retro vision. It's not enough. If only he could go back in time. It wasn't enough. Brush won't save him. He's on the Shen. Amazing flashes in immediately. Really cleanly executed by Fnatic.
Love to play. Love the use of the Death Mark to mitigate the incoming damage. And I mean, Caps maybe not the greatest Zed moment for him, but very well played to follow the Corki through. And the team follow-up there was excellent. And this is, I mean, this is the point. This is as we approach the 15-minute mark, so often are Misfits ahead, and right now they're behind. So they have, I mean, if they're worried about that metric, 3 minutes to find a lead, 3 minutes to pull ahead. But how crucial is that with this poke composition to find a lead at this stage in the game?
I think it's definitely crucial for poke comps because you want to snowball, because they generally fall off a bit towards the end, for one. And for two, if your opponent can take a little bit of poke in the face and then still hard engage on you, it's going to be really hard for you to set up poke efficiently. And Fnatic have always shown that macro-wise, they're finding really good map movements. They're trading turrets to avoid the poke comps. They're actually ahead of the play. They're on tier 2 right now in the bot lane, while Misfits is cross-mapping on a tier 1. So I think they're just being dragged around the map here by Fnatic.
Just being outpaced. You can see damage coming in. Of course, a lot of an AD on the side of Misfits, so they're not going to be too far behind on this play in the end. But a 2-for-2 tower trade, and you know, Fnatic just continue to extend the gold as they move in, or rather maintaining the 1K advantage, but continuing the macro plays, not allowing Misfits to sit comfortably in any lane.
And again, this opens up the map. You don't give Misfits any structures to really kind of set up their Legion in front of. You trade structures, which means even gold spread. You scale well for Fnatic, and the map is open. Long lanes is what you want if you're Fnatic. You want the Shen in the side lane, the Zed in the side lane, and then you want the Jhin in the mid lane for big potential. At one point, somebody's going to cross the path, eat a Jhin trap, and get W'd, or found out maybe by Amazing Cocoon, and you can follow up.
And of course, the terrifying, too, is as we move forward, if the Zed continues to accrue advantages, Power Evil, he's got the luxury of the exhaust. He may be able to survive the all-in, but Hansama, without Ignar standing by, incredibly vulnerable, and it's the same story for Alphari.
And that's why Ignar right now is shadowing Hansama. We saw Alphari move to mid and then peel off to the top lane. The map kind of small right now for Misfits. They have some lingering wards for deep vision. Taking Scuttle Crab is always nice here. Kakao is like, don't hurt my friends. I can take them without that.
Alphari gets a red buff in the end, so maybe he's happy with that exchange. May have preferred the gold. We'll never know.
We'll never know.
But Jesus now hovering in the mid lane, making sure that Reckless is safe.
And there's no real pick potential either. You can usually kind of drop somebody in with the Abyssal Voyage, but the only person you can bring is the Ivern, and then the engage is still quite conditional. You can drop Hansama off for one of those Varus ultimates, but if he misses or if he just stands there, he's kind of dead. So there's no raw engage to kind of accompany this Abyssal Voyage. Because Tahm Kench is usually really good in 1-3-1s, but this is not a 1-3-1 comp.
One, it still feels like the Abyssal Voyage could have power, but we're not going to see that Maokai delivered to the backline sort of moment. And yeah, you can spawn a Daisy, but once Ivern's in the thick of it, it's still very hard for him to disengage.
It's honestly a reactionary tool to Fnatic's 1-3-1, probably. When they start making picks on the side lane, you can get to the Shen fight much faster. It looks like they're targeting the Zed. The grouping up for vision control, this is what I like. This is what Misfits did not do that well the last few weeks. They weren't really playing together for deep vision and then not using it properly. Well, but again, they have to back off. Every time the wave reaches the river, kinda, they have to be very hesitant and careful because of the Shen ultimate.
Jez is showing off one of the more irritating features of that Zyra kit, blocking a lot of the poke that should have been aimed at the members of Fnatic, and Misfits starting to siege out.
Crucial moment. They have a siege comp, and one of the beauties we haven't really highlighted is this ring of brushes. If you ever want a composition that has to charge up skill shots, throw them at opponents, and not make them juke, you do it from impromptu brushes.
Tap standing on
Sama's alone here. Yeah.
Sama ult comes in, comboed in, but he's going to dodge out most of the damage. Deathmark will not be enough. Very close, though. Amazing wants to follow it up. He's going to get it in the end. Nice proc on the jungle.
Yeah, but what are you going to do if you're Sama here? Your support's not nearby. You flash out of one ability, you juke the second, and then suddenly you still die because that's the power of this Fnatic composition. And Misfits don't have the lead to brute force the poke. They were all 5 mid. They could technically poke, but they just couldn't complete the formation, so they backed off, and they allowed Fnatic to pick them off.
And they gave Fnatic that one opening to allow Caps in. Reckless more than happy to back him up. The Jhin all too lethal in his hands, and Misfits now doing their best to hold on to this tower. Daisy on the front line, Zyra going forward. Kakao is in trouble. That's a lot of damage from Caps. Tower now being cut down.
Yeah, Ignore flash, but he couldn't get there. I think he got knocked up before he could devour his jungler. Last week we saw some magnificent Tahm Kench plays from Ignore, both in the late game going for that backdoor and early, saving so many teammates with the Devour, but just a fraction too late. It seems like Fnatic is a step ahead on almost every play so far.
That's been the story for the entirety of the game. We saw one shining moment for Misfits in the early game. Brilliant roam coming from Power of Evil. Great bait, great pathing from Kakao, but since then Fnatic have been, moving up. And we heard last week from Jez's, we were flustered. We took the game too fast when you played game one.
Yeah.
When they're talking about their series versus Giants, that doesn't appear to be the issue today.
No, let's look at the lane assignments right now as we approach the mid game. Shen bot is the nice call for Fnatic. Mountain Dragon spawns in a few minutes, but they can already set up kind of the way they would play around the Nashor if it spawns later on. They put Caps in the top side. He has always Stand United available to back him up, which means he could all in, and because he could all in, Misfits will always give him wave priority, and that frees him up to then roam and make a pick. That's kind of the play pattern for Fnatic. Amazing doesn't have to play near Shen anymore. Soaz is tanky enough to stall in case he gets engaged on, so that Fnatic could punish in the top side. Fnatic want to get that tier 2 in the top lane ideally, or draw so much pressure there that they can maybe get pressure in the tier 2 in the mid lane.
Early in the game, Krepa, we spoke about item spikes, really looking for Misfits to capitalize on those. We have the Trinity Force, the Youmu's, the Black Cleaver. Is this the time when Misfits can really look to poke? Are they too far behind now?
I think this is where they look to fight. I don't think they have enough map pressure to set up for a poke situation. It's just simply, look at these side lanes. They're pressured on the top side. The bot lane, nobody can overextend. There's no vision. Alfari is going to be scared. So there won't be a situation where they can poke. But they have good damage. Corki can 1v1 people if he catches them off guard. So that is definitely a possibility. Look for Misfits to hopefully strike back. But there was also hesitation rather last week where they needed to strike and they never did.
Cannot afford to play that slow style against Fnatic. We said it, we want to see the snowball, and let me tell you, it's not going to be for Misfits this time around because that buff coming in for a Zed on top of what appears to be a Duskblade and a Youmu's, that Deathmark's going to hit like a truck.
Yeah, Youmu's, Duskblade, Edge of Night, that seems to be the Lethality favorite build for almost everybody these days, where you just really benefit from hiding in Fog of War, showing up, getting that bonus active there, then just messing people up in the side lanes.
Yeah, the new changes to Lethality making it so much more powerful. The 60% up front makes the Duskblade proc even more effective as well. Really excellent spot for the team to be. And for Caps, he has to feel good because you can see the damage coming in from him has been monumental. Now, Alfari, hard to say whether that's been poke damage or it's been in the thick of team fights, but Caps far and away on the side of Fnatic leading in terms of what he's been able to dish out.
Misfits can hold for now. They have wave clear in top lane with Corki, so they can hold the waves once they're pushed in. Varus can always neutralize the waves. Fnatic will have free access to dragons, because look at the setup here. Jungler and support working together. It's only when the Baron starts spawning, that's, I think, when the crucial game point will hit for Fnatic. How cleanly and how fast can they take that Baron Nashor?
1937, Mountain Drake available, and Amazing may look to pick it up. It will make that Nashor ever easier to take if they want to contest it. Of course, don't expect it at 20 minutes, but I mean, we just came out of a Unicorns of Love game where we saw tons of crazy stuff, so I wouldn't be surprised if they push for an early Baron here.
Yeah, but to me, Fnatic seems a much more controlled team, and they shouldn't give that away. They have shown really good fundamentals here. I just really like the map movements from Reckless and Jezis together to really neutralize, kind of just combat the advantages. And the map is, it's so dark very often for Misfits. They really can't push past the river ever. And if you watch a lot of Pro League Legends games, that usually means you just start conceding every single objective. And Fnatic then get the access to deep vision in the jungle.
And so often we forget that vision is a minor objective, but an objective you want. Well, 80 carry kill, maybe one as well. Nice disengage from Jezus.
Yeah, good attempt there. That's exactly what Misfits need to do. Find a rush, ward it, and then when somebody gets close, instantly pull the trigger. There is still a Chen ultimate available though. Okay, this is Misfits technically in poke position. They send in Daisy to get turret aggro, but the poke just, it's not enough. It's not hitting key targets. Reckless is base. They're too tanky right now because they have a lead. And these are the weaknesses of a poke comp that falls behind.
Very frustrating spot for Misfits to be in. So often we see Daisy solo tanking a turret for that extended duration, but when it's the only member that can afford to go into the tower, it's burned down instantaneously.
And this is obviously a matchup that will decide a lot in this group. Whether the rankings were correct, whether community expectations were correct. A lot of people were hoping Fnatic would top the group, obviously proven not quite yet, but they were kind of slotted in as a guaranteed second. And there were questions in the first few weeks, but this is where Fnatic can confirm that they are by far the second best team in their group if they win this match cleanly.
And something they want to do as we approach cross-group play, really needing to solidify themselves as a top 2 team. We're not quite to playoffs yet, but coming in strong has to feel good because there's only more time to improve as we get closer and closer. And you know, on the other side for Misfits, they've got some clear weaknesses, and it's clear that they've been working on them as well, but it just may not be enough here against Fnatic.
Yeah. Key player to watch right now is Jezus. He is a veteran, but his vision control and where he decides to place his wards is going to decide how fast Fnatic can accelerate. There is one ward Fnatic haven't spotted yet next to the mid lane. That control ward could be used for teleports for Alphari, but he is not really the strong flank engage type, so he can only teleport to really pick off maybe Reckless while he's ulting in the backline.
We have seen 1 or 2 of those Jace. We saw it from Febvin on the side of H2K, all winning, looking for those big fights, but don't know if we're going to see it here. Now, Alphari potentially overextended on the bottom side of the map, but Misfits taking this opportunity to place down some vision around the Baron pit.
Fog of War pressure. Reckless and Jezus, they disappear. They walk up. If Alphari pushes past the river, he dies. Now Amazing
caught. Amazing maybe set to fall here. Out comes the current call. Amazing trying to flash safety.
Good disengage
from Jezus. Perfect escape coming in. Hansama safe in the belly of Ignar, but excellent play coming in to save Amazing in the end.
Really good reaction from Misfits here. They used the information that they had to try and fight their way out. Fnatic, they made a bit of an oopsie right there. If your bot lane tries to make a pick on the enemy top laner who's now playing bottom lane, a lot of lanes in there, then you can't face check top left side. If you're making a play bottom right, you can't invade aggressively and face check top left, because that's exactly where Misfits were waiting for Amazing. And it's a bit of a pathing mistake, some that we have seen from Amazing even last week.
1 or 2 very questionable moments in that series. Now it looks like he has improved his Elise play, much more conscious of the enemy pathing this time around, not giving anything up to a snowballing jungler like Kha'Zix, but definitely still some small errors, not respecting that his team did not have the resources really to back up a fight there, and Misfits clearly comfortable to take the fight.
Yeah, you could see the second any fight breaks out on the top side of the map, Alphari is going ham. He really wants to make so that if Soaz decides to teleport in, he's going to do so on 20% HP and maybe even get cancelled there. So that was good from Alphari. They're not really giving up. They're just really respecting that the map is so dark and there's very little they can do right now with the draft they've elected to play. The biggest mistakes have already been made for Misfits, and right now it's waiting for a mistake from Fnatic or slowly getting bled dry.
The slow bleed out, of course, always a crushing way to lose a game. Curious to see what Misfits can do if they can get the vision that you've talked about, because we've seen Kakao on the rec side always laying down vision. We do see a pick here. Amazing caught out again. This is pretty bad for Fnatic. Looks like he's going to go down. Devastating pick, and Amazing rinse and repeats, and as do Misfits.
The problem is they're not... For Fnatic's side, they're not invading with push waves. The way you safely get top jungle control in the red side is by pushing mid, pushing top, forcing people to defend this under the turrets, at which point you peel off and you get a 4v2 contest in the jungle, which means you can ward. Or you face it like that, and you get a 4v1 contest on your release with no flash, guess what? You're gonna die.
Well, the second, of course, 4v1 contest. No Jezus to bail him out that time, and this means Misfits are going to be able to come close to evening out the gold here, 40.6 to 41.9.
Patience is paying off, and while last week we criticized Misfits for not being able to close, I think they had the necessary patience this week to take it slower when needed. But they're still firing back immediately when they see an opportunity, and that is something you should never lose as a team from behind, because otherwise, yeah, your game may last 50, 60, 70 minutes, but it'll all be in vain.
good to see them confident. Good to see them pull the trigger here. Not going to pull the trigger on the Baron. Happy to clear out the vision and pull back. Not getting over aggressive, but Fnatic.
They have to set up again, unless they really can read the base timings, because then they could technically rush a Baron at points like this, where Misfits have been lulled into a false sense of security with their vision. But now Misfits is happy. They made a pick-off, they got some vision. With vision, you can put more vision if you're Ignar. Alphari gets a free base. You can spend some gold. Usually when you base versus a Shen, you're going to give up so much of the map, you're so scared. So this is a bit of breathing room for Misfits.
Pretty confident and comfortable to push out that mid lane. Proc comes in from Edge and Knight on Han Sama. Of course, 30-second cooldown on this patch means it's really no hesitation to blow that one. If he's ever at risk of getting picked off, pretty happy to use that in the end. Now Fnatic, a little bit more hesitation as they try to figure out their next move here. Not quite as in control as they once were.
Yeah, Misfits are using the power of kind of the 6th man here in the top wave. That wave bounced all the way, got pushed out. There's a few good teleport wards though for Soas to potentially kind of flank, and Misfits with their waves in the right position. Look at top lane, Caps has to answer. Bot lane is neutral pushing back, but they can fix that off the Dragon. They get an objective.
Have to be happy with the Mountain Drake as well. We've talked about this, such an important tool, especially for contesting Baron. Will now be able to match the clear speed of Fnatic if they try to force the objective.
And that excites at least 3 people in the crowd.
Mountain Drake.
Mountain Drake.
It's me, Hyde.
I think they're the few Misfits fans. Obviously, Misfits as an organization new to the LCS against the longest reigning team here, Fnatic. Played in every split. Gradually gotten more fans over the years. Obviously had to deal with some loss of fans once they lost the fabled Soas Expected lineup back in the day. At least he returned right now.
Kind of interesting to see how he has returned. Playing a very comfortable tank top style. I remember the days when we used to hate the Maokai, and now so frequently it's the champion he finds himself on. This time around, Shen. And I think for Fnatic as an organization, this roster really still has to prove itself. Yes, you can be happy with being a top 2 team, especially with so many changes, but
within your group.
Within your group, true. Also, we'll find out where they rank among all 10 teams in the weeks to come. But you always want more, because you've been at the top before, and I think for players like Reckless, for players like Soaz, amazing. They just want to be right back on top.
And they're slowing down right now, because a 1-3-1 is an incredibly hard thing to pull off efficiently, because the margin for error is really not that big. If you play it out cleanly, it is a very suffocating playstyle that can net you a lot of benefits. But Misfits right now, they're just grouping up. They push out a lane, then they group up again. They never really split push. But their poke is becoming hard for Fnatic to deal with right now. Look at why Fnatic's playing. This is an entirely different image than, say, 5-6 minutes ago. There's 4 guys in Fnatic, crouched in the mid lane, hiding out of sight, because they're going for a silent play on Alphari.
The Fnatic death push, though. It's a classic, and it's the gift that just keeps on giving. Tahm Kench is on the way in.
And technically, Misfits could have seen this coming, because there was no pressure top on Fnatic, and there was no pressure mid. And then it begs the question, why would they suddenly stop pressuring both lanes unless they were making a play on the third? And right now, Misfits, they went to react to that play, walked over, and now Amazing is flashing in.
Oh, misses the Cocoon, lands onto Cacao, curtain call comes out. Ignar's going to say no, but Caps does a lot of damage, wants to deliver the Shen into the back lines. Daisy comes out, heals going up for redemption. Caps now in trouble. He's just getting locked down. There's so much CC.
Get him, Daisy!
Out. Daisy running forward. That is one mean cupcake. Smited down. Reckless going to kill it in the end. You cruel, cruel man.
You thought this was a 4v5? Not until Daisy showed up. No, this was a really poor re-engage from Fnatic. This is not on the same page. We're seeing fractures in their communication. Misfits made the classic play where, oh, my top laner's dying. Let's go help him. Oh, he's dead. Oh, no, they're doing Baron. And they tried to stop, and then Fnatic went for a punish with their jungler, while their AD carry and support were getting chunked by Nashor. This wasn't clean at all.
Not whatsoever, and surprising after we saw so many clean mid-game plays. Amazing macro play for Fnatic to find this lead in the first place, but slowing down. And it was fast play that gained them the lead, but now I feel like it's slow play is the option. Yep. They have to change the way that they're maneuvering around the map. And
they're still scaling pretty well. This lethality build, Fiesta, used to be really bad against tanks, but it got buffed a little bit against tanks already. There's enough damage with the Black Cleaver to really reduce Soas's tankiness in general, especially since he needs to itemize part MR, part armor, that there's a ton of squishies on Fnatic right now, and if any of them misstep, any combination of Varus and Jace damage or Corki and Varus is just enough to annihilate anybody who's in the wrong position.
Well, through the years of Elise being a meta jungler, we've seen so much variation in build, but Amazing's preference right now is that full damage. It looks like Protobelt coming up next. That means he's going to get popped in a second.
But that doesn't fit the style. Look, he's playing versus Pocomp. He's building full squish, but he's playing as kind of a big facilitator. So it doesn't really add up that much. He really wants to 100-0 people. Misfits, they have to force his dash because they let Caps go to the bottom lane. Fnatic, they should be a big punish.
Second shot comes in, third, fourth, can't steal the Baron. If there's an angle to get it in there, he's waiting on the timing. Nope, gonna fire it out instead. Redemption going down, not Redemption, the Zyra ult. Red team does take Baron, but Caps looking to make the inhibitor fall.
And they can't cancel any bases. Where is Caps? Inhibit zone 50% right now, and it's actually Fnatic being routed around. Really good reaction from the Misfits.
How far going in? Caps, is he gonna have to give his life for this one? Poke's coming in, he wants to clear it out. Shadow out to safety.
Amazing, you are not a tank. Stop playing like one. He's basically an assassin Elise right now into a Pocomp, and now Afari.
Oh, shut down, okay. I saw the moves.
Pop.
Ah! Not the traditional pop, just the ignite in the end, gonna take him down. But Caps, excellent 1v1. But this is the point. Fnatic, they have the advantage right now, but it's Misfits with this Baron buff who they have to be scared of.
And they get a late kill. And if you want to give any team a Baron buff so they have more time to hit you and you take more time clearing their minions, it is a Pocomp. Here's Ignore.
Oh, Ignore in the back line, locked up. Gray health goes up. He may be taken down, has to flash out to safety, but Power Beetle does so much damage. Hansama with the arrow to back him up.
Misfits abusing the squishy members from Fnatic right now. Amazing disappeared from half health. Jessis tried to engage, counter-engage Peel. He just got bopped immediately on the head as well. The inhib that was lost is very easy for Alphari to deal with still, since he's just a side lane. Look at Amazing. He's just...
It's good that you were watching this. I was watching the picture-in-picture. I was watching this action. You were focusing on that.
Let's see what went wrong here. Alphari. So Zed ulti was used and then it's just an ignite. Yeah, counter damage.
I mean, excellent use of the Devour from the Tahm Kench there to make sure that once the Death Mark was procced, that no further follow-up damage could go through, making it very easy for that for the Zed to, or rather for the Jace to survive.
Yeah, you can dodge the Zed damage amplification from the ulti. Problem is, his base damage is still pretty damn high right now.
Well, it's got to be frustrating for the team because he did get the kill in the end, and he got it from the Jace. He does now have 32 bonus attack damage, a part of his kit that we haven't seen in competitive. It's been so long since he's been played. But an excellent bonus to have on top of 3 completed lethality items. 4th item on the way, maybe Blade of the Rune King, maybe a Hex Drinker coming out.
Definitely so. Misfits right now, they've not managed to really push out their bot lane, so they're looking to fix that right now. Fnatic obviously bought time. Look at her playing 2-man topside right now because they have the auto bot push. Misfits, they're not looking to break open the game just yet. Just gonna stabilize, honestly, take up another objective here and then deal with that bottom wave. They may lose a top lane turret though.
Is this a waste of the Baron buff? I feel like we maybe expected them to get so much more back in exchange, and Fnatic wasn't the right call to just concede Baron there.
I think Fnatic definitely shouldn't have gone for the steal. Because it was so hard, because it was against the Ivern. You don't see Baron HP. Hang on.
Oh, Caps in trouble. Is he going to be able to get this one? Deathmark will buy him a little bit of time. Spins. Not going to be enough. Pulls back. Power Beetle wants a fight, though. Goes in. Package triggering down.
Aggressive exhaust.
Now moving forward. So is potentially in trouble. Earth throws a spatula. Power continues to hop forward. Is stunned up. Can't imagine this fight going much further. But Power of Evil is fearless. He wants that kill onto Soaz. Running forward. He just continues to chase. He's going to flash. He wants an amazing
double.
Power of Evil.
Pop,
oh, that's the big one. One more.
You got
double kill. He is relentless.
That exhaust man paid off.
I want to remind everyone this is not advocation to chase that far in solo queue.
Go for it. Power Evil can do it, you can do it too. This guy, this must feel so good. Redemption for him. He struggled for an entire year on Origin. Having to share spots with Expeke. Very...
And I mean, popping off.
Yeah.
Triforce, i.e. the Zeal, the Sword Boots.
The Zeal really made it work. This is the maximum damage Corki build that he's going for, by the way. You can go mid Corki and spike on 2 items if you go Triforce and then Gunblade, and you really want to go for that mid-game spike, but because Misfits were behind and they were comfortable stalling and then striking back, he's going for the 3-item DPS Corki, where you get a rapid-fire cannon as 3rd item, and that is just insane chase potential too. Look at it. They get Caps. This ulti from Hansama is beautiful. Onto the Zed, and then here, like, I would never think in my life that he could hunt both of them down. It also shows you the build from Amazing. Like, you're trying to peel for a tank and just giving them AoE. Look, these guys are essentially sharing They're sharing the
They're
burden.
sharing a hitbox right there. The big one hits both of them. Power of Evil cleans up.
There's literally 4 rockets on double utility right there. They're really good teammates, you know, really sharing the pain, but it doesn't work that way.
It actually does full damage to both participants in the share the pain strategy. So Power of Evil, this is that Corki damage coming online. Rapid fire cannon as well will make it easier to chase down those targets. A bit of extended range, and things now looking pretty good for Misfits. They, you know, for once in the game, find themselves a significant lead. 3 carries and 2 supportive champions here. The Mikhails comes out. Look how they split the builds too. They get the Mikhails on Ignar so he can get them out of CC. Obviously you get 2 redemptions, because why not? You have a Locket on the Iron too, and then a lot of heal, rather shield increase and heal increase on the Iron here. It's so hard. These guys are deceptively tanky. And then of course the speed boost that it generates as well. And worst case, when you get caught, Ignar can always devour you. Hop, hop. Ignar is going to devour him. Flashes out as Soaz looks to find the taunt. The follow from Daisy. Third auto is going to knock him up. A lot of damage down on Kakao. The healing mitigation is in. Good spot to be. Executioner's Calling going to be great for this team overall, but it's just so hard to burn any one member down.
Yeah, and they're forcing Fnatic to kind of match their 4-1. That's what Misfits want to do right now. They have Jason on the side lane with teleport. He can 1v1 a lot of champions in the mid game. He can also buy time if he gets ganked with the GA. And Misfits have really succeeded in keeping the map tiny. They've always went for an objective to force Fnatic to react. And Fnatic, they had the possibility to play 1-3-1 clean. They had a possibility to use that 1-3-1 pressure to get deep vision and set up the Nasher. We talked about it 17 minutes in. It was looking so good for them. All they had to do was cleanly play out 1-3-1, and they failed to do so.
Maybe not patient enough. Fnatic either over-eager or not cautious enough in the end. It doesn't matter because they're now at a deficit. 4K backing up the Misfits.
On top side.
Now looking to get caps. Edge of Night's already been procced.
Sama, be careful.
Sama, you do not want this. Redemption going in. Ooh, nice blast coming over the wall. Flash. Can he get that? No.
No, the answer is no. He doesn't have flash.
It's a rough spot to be, but the fight is going to continue. Daisy now coming in as well as Fnatic. They look to continue the fight. They have the man advantage, but Zed has blown all his cooldowns. Trying to burn down Daisy. Do not want to get hit by the trigger seed. And really, I feel like just poor decision coming in from Sama.
It's caught in the moment. It's really easy for us to just, yes, of course, this Zed is going to screw with you, but you don't know where he is exactly. You think of the blast cone as a way out, but obviously you're playing against a Zed with hyper mobility at this point, and he is just really farmed. This guy is sitting at 330 CS at 37 minutes with 5 kills. That is insanely fed on this Zed, and he can 1v1 almost anything.
Has the Black Cleaver now as well, so it'll be even easier to shred through the tankier targets on the side of Misfits. That combined with the Executioner Callings, making the redemptions less effective. It only gets easier for Caps to find a kill now that all the support items have been built.
Yeah, and Letality's capping out right now as well. It's almost near max utility as these levels get higher, and versus 80 carries, that's super beneficial because they don't build any armor. So Lethality scaling versus tanks is really bad because they get more armor than you get gain for the scaling. But hang on, Dracos. In the darkness, in the night, there's a Baron being started.
First
in the rush, so even if they ward, they don't see the HP.
Oh, shots coming out on Sama, safe for now. Caps not moving forward. Ignar potentially in trouble, not going to get taunted up in the end. Daisy moving forward on the front lines. That's a 2-man knockup. Disengage coming in for Misfits though. Oh, rocket over the wall. Jez's pops.
Do not chase a Pokemon.
Oh, damage coming in. Reckless. Is he going to burn down? No dots ticking on him for now.
And they can just start again. Rinse and repeat. In the brush he goes. It's a big monster hiding in a tiny brush. It's so annoying to play against this. You do not understand. As a jungler or a support and you're trying to find out what's going on in that pit, you have no idea. So you have to use all your engagement and catch tools preemptively, maybe at the wrong time. And Misfits, we criticize them for not snowballing their lead. They didn't even have a lead. We criticize their mid to late game shot calling and macro.
And they built a lead.
Yeah, they built a lead.
We criticize their sloppy Baron setups, and they bait Fnatic in to like the textbook Baron setup.
So what you're trying to tell me is stop criticizing.
I'm not trying to say that. I'm just saying we are seeing improvement,
no, and
it looks good.
So that's the classic. And now those 2 dragons that they got earlier make their Elder much more significant on a poke comp again. This comp it really benefits from both Elder and Baron.
Extra true damage when they get in there, when they can dish out that damage. That's 30% bonus damage to towers and epic monsters. They're not going to get the epic monsters bonus, but they're going to be able to cut through these towers. Caps is split pushing, but this is a risky gambit.
Yeah, unless they can go for a base race. Otherwise, Caps is the base. If you want to stay, you're going to commit to almost a base race right here if you're Caps. He could get 2 inhibitors, so if Fnatic can defend this somehow 4v5, Caps can get at least 2 inhibitors in the top side.
Well, he's gotten a tower, and maybe he's looking to get more. There's 1 inhibitor down. Will Misfits continue?
Misfits have to go for the finish here, and now Caps is basing. He's scared.
This is massive. So as on the front lines, he's taking a lot of damage. The true damage is cutting through him slowly but surely. Hansama is slain. Amazing in the meantime, off on the side.
That build is not paying off. Why did he go proto belt still?
Fnatic is going in on the Hansama, just gets eaten up. Now Caps is in the middle of everyone. Does pull back, buys a little bit of time. Great ult from Jezz's, but there's no follow-up. Misfits are alive. They're just too tanky. The support items keeping them healthy. The shield simply too much.
One QW from Caps could maybe save the game, but it's looking very,
Power
very
still
grim.
Gets it. Misfits, they're going to take down Fnatic. Game 1. Misfits coming in, changing all perceptions as they cut through Fnatic.
Oh, I'm loving this one. It looked like they were like beaten down. On paper, they should have lost this game. If Fnatic played out clean, there is almost no way to come back with this composition. But if they don't play clean, you also need to know exactly when to punish. Because if you just stand back and do nothing, you're going to lose. And they kept fighting aggressively, especially when Amazing tried to invade the jungle. They stopped him once, got his flash, killed him again later, killed Jezz's a couple of times. And these newer members on this Fnatic roster are getting punished, and there's no synergy in terms of vision.